Tarpley here in Washington, D.C. The CIT bankruptcy, and remember, the CIT bankruptcy comes 1 week after Capmark, and Capmark, with $200 billion in real estate loans, signals that the commercial real estate crisis is upon us. And that will be ongoing, right? $500 to $600 billion worth of commercial real estate mortgages coming due over the next 2 years or so. Expected default rate approximately 50%, and that has already taken down Capmark, another very large bankruptcy. So one Sunday it's Capmark, the next Sunday it's CIT, with terrible consequences for the commercial season, right? In this sick economy, 2/3 of the U.S. economy is retail sales. That's a bad combination. So depression getting worse, world economic depression increasing. There is no recovery, and there is no cycle that will lift you out of it. No, Austrians, no, dear Chicago boys. There is no cycle. There's no automatic lift. It's a bottomless depression, and until you get back to effective New Deal policies, get rid of your monetarism and your Washington consensus and your neoliberal jabberwocky, the depression will get worse and worse. Now, last Friday, Sheila Bair was busy at the FDIC, not as busy as she should have been. She shut down 9 banks. That's a record for this year. Sheila Bair strikes every Friday. She's like the owl of Minerva. She takes flight at dusk on Friday afternoon. 9 banks taken down. Total for this year, 115 banks. California National, banks controlled by the FBOP, Chicago Holding Company, taken down, probably $20 billion in assets in at least one of them. So 115 banks. Now, of course, Sheila Bair forgot again to seize J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citibank, Bank of New York Mellon, Wells Fargo, now quite big. I should mention them earlier. They're getting bigger than some of the other ones. Those are all zombie banks. They're all bankrupt. Sheila, you blew it again. Another Friday went by. You didn't seize the top 10 money center banks, which are all bankrupt by virtue of their derivatives. Well, again, it's Friday again this afternoon after we record. Sheila will undoubtedly strike again. Will it be more than 9 banks or fewer? The British have announced that the nationalized British banks, Northern Rock, Lloyds, and Royal Bank of Scotland, and that's quite a large combination, will close a total of 700 branches. So even after you've been bailed out by Gordon Brown, you will still sink into further levels of bankruptcy. All that meant that there was what amounts to a pre-Halloween mini crash a week ago today. Remember, the U.S. market lost 250 points. U.S. was down 2.5%. Japan was down almost 3%. Germany down about 3%. The pound took a pounding. The financial stocks were down. J.P. Morgan was down 6% a week ago. Now, in the meantime, of course, plunge protection team back in action, trying to keep the Dow at about 10,000, and they seem to have done that for the rest of the week now. They've also been able to do that without the usual effect of driving down the dollar beyond 1.50 to the euro. So maybe something is changing there. The nature of the crisis shifting. Plenty of time left for catastrophic crashes, though, still in 2009. The FDIC fund, we should have mentioned, is now increasingly depleted. We'll be reporting on that as time goes on. So again, the only answer to this stuff is hit them with the Tobin tax, 1% tax on all Wall Street financial turnover, starting with derivatives of all types, exchange-traded and over-the-counter, and reimpose Glass-Steagall. So you can pick. You want to be a bank? Okay. You want to be a broker? Okay. You want to be an insurance company? You get to pick one, no more than one. Pick one from column A, and one is all. If we'd done that, we could have easily let AIG and these other zombie institutions go down. So this is a deepening world economic depression. We've also got now, let's shift topics to the question of the Milan verdict. This is a historical event. On Wednesday afternoon, the court in Milan, Italy, run by Judge Maggi, has handed down a verdict in the CIA kidnap rendition cases, and in particular, the most celebrated one of these is the kidnapping of Imam Nasser, known as Abu Omar of Milan. Now, what this guy is anybody's guess. He was under investigation by the Italian authorities. Whether he's guilty of anything, we'll never know, because the CIA barged in with a Special Forces Green Beret Delta Force gang and kidnapped him on a public street in broad daylight in Milan so that the Italian investigation could never be completed. This was in early 2003, the run-up to the Iraq War. So Abu Omar, a militant to be sure, was drugged. He was driven from Milan to Aviano NATO Air Force Base nearby, given a first round of torture, drugged again, taken to Ramstein, the large NATO air base in Germany, and then to Cairo, where he was thoroughly tortured, held in severe captivity for about a year. Then later on he got transferred into house arrest and so forth. Total of 4 years in captivity, and then prevented from leaving Egypt, where he remains to this day. The operation, of course, under the Mad Dog Bush the Younger administration, approved specifically by Condoleezza Rice. Yes, Condi in the kidnapping business, and, of course, the unfortunate George Tenet. So, in this trial, 33 defendants. Of these, 26 were from the CIA, or U.S. in general. Let's call them CIA for purposes of brevity. Of the 26 CIA defendants, all fugitives, all in absentia, 3 were given diplomatic immunity, including Jeff Castelli, the CIA station chief in Rome, the boss of the CIA presence in Italy. But the other 22 were given 5 years each in jail. So 22 CIA officials convicted of kidnapping, 5 years in the clink. And the CIA station chief in Milan, Robert Selden Lady, alias Bob Lady, 8 years in jail, and his villa near Asti between Turin and Genoa in the wine country was confiscated. So no cushy retirement in a storybook setting for Bob Lady. There were also 7 defendants from SISMI, the Italian military intelligence, SISMI. This included the boss of it, Polari, his number 2 man, the anti-terror director, Mancini. 5 of them, including the 2 big fish, got off because the evidence was covered by state secrets. This was an intervention by pro-CIA forces in the Italian Constitutional Court. But three SISMI still got 2 years in jail. Sorry. Back in a minute.